Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Carrie Roldan Show, where we spend 30 minutes or so having conversations that matter to the entrepreneur's body, mind, and business. I'm your host, Carrie Roldan, and I am a wife, a mother, a runner, a best-selling author, a personal growth junkie, and your total business BFF. And I started the Carrie Roldan Show because you guys, being an entrepreneur is a journey. It's a journey to self. It's a journey to truth. It's a journey to creative and financial freedom. And it's not always an easy one. And it's my intention to support you every step of the way. So on this show, we cover topics from marketing and websites to consciousness and hormones and everything in between. Now, if this is your first time here, be sure to follow my business page. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you're already here. But the business page is Carrie Roldan /business BFF. Actually, it's a dash business BFF. And of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And you can also hop on my email list to ensure that you never miss an episode and get all kinds of other good stuff from me. If you just go to carrieroldan.com/alignment, you'll get a free 15-minute alignment practice, and you'll be added to my email list. And of course, if you guys are here with us now on Facebook Live, say hello in the chat. This serves two purposes. Number one, it lets us know you're here so we can say hi to you. And number two, the more people who actually comment and engage, the more people Facebook notifies that this is happening. So if you are here with us live, please say hello. I'm going to check the chat in just a minute. But first, I want to talk about today's show. I'm so excited to finally be doing this show because my guest is Gina Hussar. She's a close friend and someone who I talk to regularly. And we are having a conversation publicly today that we've been having privately for a really long time. So the title of the show is Rich and Real: Why Doing Away with Manipulative Marketing and Focusing on Being Yourself is the Ticket to Freedom. So if you guys don't know Gina, I'm going to introduce her. I'm going to give her bio, her official bio right now. Gina Caruso-Hussar is a speaker, intuitive brand strategist, and award-winning writer, and has built a successful company based on the belief that a blend of spirit and strategy is key to success. Gina helps entrepreneurs connect with their own DNA, which stands for Divine Natural Abilities, and show them how to create a powerful, profitable expression of those gifts to share with the world. With a focus on alignment and integration, can you guys tell why I love her already? Gina has worked with some of the top coaches in the personal development industry, as well as new entrepreneurs, to ensure that purpose, brand messaging, and content strategy blend together for a solid ascension plan that aligns with each individual's values and vision. She's also an Amazon best-selling author and a single mom of 3 awesome kiddos. Her program, The Miracle Project, has been enjoyed by more than 2,000 women, and she's just opened up, I'm so excited about this, she's just opened up her new program called Align and Define for multi-passionate entrepreneurs who are ready to confidently create their purpose-driven brand. So Gina, I'm putting your face on the screen right now. Say hello.
Hello, thank you for that lovely introduction.
Well, you're welcome. And Gina, I just want to acknowledge the people who are here. So I have a hello from Cynthia and Julie, and I see that we have a couple more viewers. So if you are here live, please take a minute to say hello. And also, I know Gina and I have a treat for you. If you guys are interested, later on in the show, we will happily take a look at your website or sales page or whatever you've got going on marketing wise and give our 2 cents about it. All right. So Gina, I've given you this introduction. I have told people how much I love and adore you. But what I was talking to you about before we got started here is I actually only know part of your story. I know who you are right now. I know the work that you do in the world right now. I'm super passionate about the work that you do because I think it's honestly, I think it's what's missing in most marketing courses and things like that. But I would like to know how you got here. How did you come to be this aligned marketing and branding strategist?
Well, like a lot of the people that are probably listening, it was not a straight and narrow path. So I started out actually with the intention of coaching in personal development and, spirituality, inner peace, and that kind of thing. And then somebody got wind of the fact that I had worked in magazines and had that marketing and copywriting background and asked for help. And it just took off from there. But what led me to doing this brand alignment work was, I just posted about this the other day. I attended an event probably 4 or 5 years ago, and there were tables that had a different color balloon on each table. And the host very sweetly said, each balloon represents a different niche. Just go pick your niche and sit at that table. And I stood there like totally paralyzed. Like, what am I? Because I have this spiritual background. I was a certified law of attraction coach, certified healer, but then I was this writer and this certified business coach. And the thought of choosing between them felt awful to me. So it really hit me at that event. Somebody asked me for my advice randomly, and we sat down, and I just sort of tuned into who they were and what was resonating with them about their brand, where they felt stuck, what they hated doing, what they wished they could do. And we came up with their messaging and their first offer on the spot. And it finally hit me that having a foot in each boat, I had always seen that as a major obstacle. I had always seen that as feeling scattered, looking scattered. And I realized that day that it's actually unique value. So that was the day that I started taking this thing that I felt was my biggest obstacle and doing it on purpose, doing it with intention. And it just took off from there. And I found that we are, any of us in this industry, there's a shift happening. We're all aware of it. The stuff that has worked for years is not working anymore. And alignment and authenticity are no longer just things that are preferred by a certain subgroup of us. They're actually things that are now required if you want to sustain your business and grow it with any kind of integrity. So does that answer your question? It was a windy path.
It always is. Yeah, I think so. I was curious, actually, you just mentioned that you had worked in magazines and marketing and copywriting. So what made you switch from that work to becoming a certified law of attraction coach, healer, et cetera, and into the work that you do now? What was the reason for leaving?
I'm a big believer in just following the flow, and it was, opportunities just kept presenting themselves. I loved to do it. It energized me. So I just kept saying yes to what felt good. And I pretty much, that's how I live moment to moment, even personally. But, what I found was when I was doing the magazine work, my favorite thing about that was the curation process. And that was finding people who were doing amazing things and really working in their flow and working in alignment and getting to feature them. And it really hit me that the people that are doing the best are the people who keep it simple. They're not buying up tons of programs. They don't care what the best practices are.
Right.
They're not looking at the latest template or the latest must-have marketing trend or whatever. They are just doing their thing and doing it consistently and doing it with the intention of creating an experience for their audience first, knowing that the profit and the platform building comes as a natural result of that. Whereas what we've seen lately in this industry is a focus on profit and platform, first. So it just needs, I really feel like we need to go back to basics where the things that were working before the internet existed are the things that are working again now.
So I want to go back to first of all, I see that we have a couple more people here live. So again, if you're here watching, please say hello in the comments. Let us know you're here. Hey, Jay, I see that you are here. I'm wanting to talk a little bit. So I guess I'll just say this. A couple years ago, I was feeling frustrated. I was actually at that same event that you were at with the balloon and felt the same thing. Like, I don't know. And honestly, I felt like, I was very new in my business at that time. And I was like, I could go into this, right? I could go into that balloon. I could go to that balloon. I don't know. And I honestly felt in that moment like a failure because wasn't like, I felt like I didn't belong there. I didn't even belong in business because I couldn't answer the fundamental question, like the very basic.
What you do.
Yes. And so after that, I got a little frustrated, and I actually, because I was feeling exactly what you just described, this is the conversation we've been having in private for so long, is like, marketing is changing, cookie cutter formulas aren't working, and not just they aren't working, but they're manipulative, and I feel like they're disrespectful to the people who we're trying to serve. Mm-hmm. I called it ends justify the means marketing. Like, a lot of the gurus were saying, listen, tell them one thing or sell them one thing and deliver another. And that felt very bait and switchy for me. Anyways, I did a series called the New Paradigm Marketing Symposium. And so I feel like, oh my gosh, no, we've been talking about this for a long time. But what I think is happening is that finally the big names, right? The gurus, the formula and blueprint and template pushers are looking at their own numbers and recognizing, whoa, our market is changing. And I don't know, do you want to speak to that? Or I know you serve a lot of people who are going through that. Do you want to speak to that?
I do. I do have a lot of people who have hit that coveted, 7-figure mark. And what they're finding, though, is that didn't happen overnight. Some of them have been in the business 10 to 20 years. And the reason you plateau is because you evolve as a human being. As you evolve as a human being, your business, your messaging naturally evolves. It's just that sometimes we forget to actually change the tangibles to align with who we are 10 years later, 10 years after we began. So they are seeing that too. There's definitely, people are savvy now to what used to work in hardcore marketing. They're savvy to the pattern interrupts. They're savvy to the clickbait and that kind of thing. And they do want to be respected, and they do want to stand behind. They want to be able to stand behind your vision, your values. They want to be a part of something. We actually just started talking about this. As you see, this is going way deep, but I will say it anyway. As you see a moving away from organized religion, you're seeing people want community. They're joining clubs, they're joining communities, they're joining masterminds, because at the end of the day, people still want to belong. They still want an experience. So there's a shift happening from what used to feel like, being targeted individually to being a part of something bigger, creating movements, creating journeys and experiences. It has to be that in this day and age. People are addicted to quizzes. They're addicted to games. They're addicted to experience.
I love that you talk about experience. And I want to actually, Gina, you have something someplace that I want our viewers to go, actually. So I'm going to show this on the screen, I think. Yeah, there it is. So you guys, you don't have to go here right this instant, but if you go to ginahussar.com/90-minute miracle, you're going to look at one of the most beautiful sales pages. You are going to read some sales copy that touches your soul. And one of the things that Gina says on this page is that your business has a soul, right? And that you actually, and this, I believe, right, the title of the show had to do with, I can't even remember the title. Let me read the title of the show again. Why doing away with manipulative marketing and focusing on being yourself is the ticket to freedom, right? So it's on this page, Gina talks about your business having a soul, right? And it's showing that soul, showing your soul and the soul of your business that really does do the attracting, right? That really does. When you talked earlier, you said all those things that you felt you didn't know which category you went in. You recognized that was your unique value. Mm-hmm. And our marketplace is so crowded now. There's so many 7 steps to and 5 reasons why and all of those kinds of things that people are hungry to resonate with the soul of your business. I want to ask 2 questions about that. One is just do you have anything more to say about that? I'm guessing you do. And 2 would be, what does someone do who doesn't quite know about the soul of their business?
First of all, the one thing I'll think about the soul of your business, it sounds woo-woo and esoteric, but at the end of the day, what it means is integration. There is no separation between you and your brand, right? So integration is really what this is about. And when you operate your business as the most authentic version of yourself, and your body of work is a tangible expression of who you are, the best part about that is selling becomes irrelevant. If you hate selling, this is your avenue. This is your time. It's never been easier to sell, actually. All you have to do is show up, be who you are, connect, create the experience, create the journey. It eliminates the need for the hard sell. People see who you are, they resonate, they want to join your movement, they want to be a part, they want to sit at your lunch table, basically. And from there, you don't have to hard sell them, right? So, there are so many ways to talk about and teach alignment that we definitely don't have time for today. But, really think about who you are as a person, and are those things showing up in your business? When we take people through the 90-minute miracle align and define thing that you posted, we give them a huge brand workbook. And in that workbook, it asks them everything from what do you love to what do you hate? What tasks about your business make you want to stick a fork in your eye? Like, we go through, what brands do you love? Where do you find yourself hanging out? How do you most love to communicate? Right? I mean, we have people who are total introverts who have spent thousands of dollars on programs that teach them how to do video, and they hate it. And because they hate it and resist it with every fiber of their being, it doesn't convert. So there are 1,000 different ways to make money. You have to really choose the one that resonates most with who you are naturally. You put out a great video last week about strengths and weaknesses, and you and I talked about the fact that strength is not something you're good at, it's something that gives you energy. And those are all things we look at when we talk about alignment, down to what time do you want to stop working every day, right? Because that's huge for me. I found myself, I remember meeting someone who was in Australia, and she wanted my biggest package, and I didn't know where she was. And when I said, where are you located? She said, Australia. And I went, oh, because I know that I'm going to have to meet with her at 9 o'clock at night with the time difference. So there are people who don't even take those daily preferences into consideration. That's a lack of integration. It's an integration gap, right?
Okay, I have so much to say about this, and I also want to make sure that those of you who are here live, so I see Isabel's joined us, Chantal has joined us, Cynthia and Jay are still here. Julie, I'm not sure if you're here. I realized you said you were coming later. But one, if this is resonating, you guys, just give us a yes, give me a oh my God, give me a hallelujah, amen. Let us know in the comments. And then very soon, if you would like, in fact, you can do this now, if you want feedback on what you've got going on in your sales page and like something that you can put a link to in the comments, Gina and I will go ahead and take a look and give you some feedback right here live on the spot. If you're all shy, that's fine too. But I just wanted to let you know that, like, if you want to do that, now is the time to put your link in the chat. So there's that. Gina, I wanted to say, okay, I just need to gather myself a second because I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, you said there's no separation between you and your brand. Mm-hmm. Before we even get into, what feels good marketing wise and being in your strengths, I know that for a lot of people, especially a lot of women, they want there to be separation between them and their brand, right? Like they want to be them. They want to protect themselves from being too vulnerable in their business, right? So they want to create an image in their brand that maybe they don't feel 100% aligned with. So I guess my question is just, what's your advice to that person who is resisting, like the phrase that's coming to mind, resisting brand nakedness?
Oh, I love that. We used to have something called Stark Naked Strategy that was all about getting naked in that respect. So here's the deal. There are a lot of people who have made that first 6 figures following the templates and the processes of their mentor, building that brand image based on the swipe files and the examples that they see other people doing. That got them started. What they find is they cannot sustain it because it's not them. Because at some point, your intuition taps you on the shoulder and really will not let it go. Like, this isn't you, you and I have both seen that happen. We've both been there ourselves. So you have to, and this is the same thing, I'm going off a little bit, when people say they feel salesy. If you feel salesy, it's because you're selling something that you're not aligned with, right? When you are aligned, right? Because selling is nothing more than a transfer of passion and enthusiasm, right? So if you are passionate and enthusiastic about what you are offering, you will never feel salesy. And it's the same with your brand and your image. You have to be able to so strongly stand behind what you do and have such a passion and enthusiasm for it that your need for validation becomes obsolete. You don't have it anymore. It's obsolete. It is more important to you to reach the people who need what you sell and who will resonate with you. And you don't even worry about the haters, the judgment, whatever. You are willing to be vulnerable as a stand for the work you do. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. And I think that a lot of people who are listening understand that on an intellectual level. I get it. I get that in order for people, especially in the industry that so many of us are in, where it's personal, right? It's a lot of transformational work, or it's coaching work, where it matters who you work with, right? Like, you're choosing your mentor based on more than just their credentials, on more than just their resume, right? You're choosing your mentor. You're choosing who you buy from based on who feels right? Who feels like they get you and you get them. I totally lost my train, Gina.
Well, I'll say this based off of what you just said. It is, this is a strong statement, but I'm going to say it in the spirit of helping. If you feel that way, you are operating a little bit out of integrity, because you cannot ask people to be, as we said, naked with you and their issues and bearing all and coming into your house and letting you help transform them if you are not willing to be that yourself. And people are starting to sense that, right? That's all. It might be the most well-intended thing in the world, but if it is not who you are, you cannot, with integrity and authenticity, expect your audience to know, like, trust you, open up to you. There has to be that equal exchange of trust and openness.
So let's talk copy or website branding or the image that you're putting out into the world, right? Right now, I know you're talking about alignment. I'm trying to get to some more tangible examples. And I see that our people who are watching are a little bit shy, although Jay says great points and it applies to other industries as well. Yeah, it applies. It's business, right? Money is just an exchange of energy. So who we're working, where our money goes is just where we feel most energetically in alignment. Mm-hmm. And Cynthia re-quoted you. She said, if you feel salesy, then you're selling something you're not aligned with. Yes. And can I just say, this is a tangent, but so important. Sometimes you can be selling something that you are aligned with. But if you feel salesy, you're out of alignment with how you're doing it.
Yeah. And I will say, speaking to Jay's point, I just worked recently with an interior designer. So totally not this industry. And her whole brand is centered around eco-integrity and attention to detail, hand-woven things that take days to create one piece. So you're not going to find her at Target But she did just spend the day at an Oscar-winning actress's house because that woman wants that attention to detail. So as soon as you show up standing behind, not giving a hoot, about, what it leads to or how much it's going to make you or whatever, when you stand behind the values and the vision and the mission, the movement, that's where the magic happens in any industry, no matter what you're selling.
I just had such an aha, and it wasn't an aha and that I didn't know it. It was an aha and like, oh, the way you said it, because you said stand behind the values. Mm-hmm. And I feel like what so many of us are taught in marketing is show the value, show the value, show the value. And we're talking so often, we've been taught to show the value in monetary, right? Like, what's the monetary value of this? What are you adding? And a big marketing thing is, show them that you're giving them $20,000 of value and you're only charging $199, right? But what you just said is show them your values. Mm-hmm. And I know from experience that the more you do that, the less you actually have to prove anything. You don't have to prove the monetary value of what you're selling because it feels right to the person on the other end.
Absolutely. Yeah, they self-select and self-identify into your world just by way of your values being an aligned fit with their needs. I used to say you connect your DNA, your divine natural abilities, to their ABC, their absolute biggest challenge. And that happens, that meets in the middle at the shared values and nothing else. Nobody... listen, even Apple, people stand in line for a day when there's a new phone. Yes, there's new features and benefits. Yes. But those people are loyal to that brand because of the values, the innovation, right? If you read the Apple manifesto, all that stuff, it's all about values, not features and benefits.
Amen. Hallelujah. I want to know if anybody has any questions. So if you do have questions for Gina or I, post them in the comments. And I want to restate what you just said because it was really good. Gina said your job is to combine your DNA, which she calls divine natural ability. So your DNA, connect your DNA to your ideal client's absolute biggest challenge. I really love that. And I'm looking for the question that was on my heart 1 second ago. Oh, well, I don't know. I'm just looking down at my notes. I feel like we've been a little bit all over the place, but let's face it, this is how the Carrie Roldan Show rolls. I just want to mention, when you go to ginahussar.com/90-minute miracle, I'm actually looking at that page right now because this was the thing that was on my heart. Oh, thank God it came back. Was about the total statement that people don't buy what you do, they buy who you are. But what I love about this page is the very first big text block reads, if you're ready to finally make the money and the impact you deserve, then keep reading. And then you go on to say exactly what you just said, right? That companies who know their soul get brand alignment from people. They get people to sign up, right? Because people don't buy what you sell, right? Lots of people buy MP3 players or phones, right? They buy who you are and what you stand for. If you don't know about that, I encourage you to actually go to this site, read the whole page. You guys will fall in love with Gina. But more importantly, she's got an offer for you, and it's a pretty good offer. I don't know, Gina, did you want to explain what? Yeah, do you want to explain that?
Sure. I know. I just let me go quick and interrupt me if we don't have time. But sure. I just posted this on my personal page. I took my daughter last week to a concert that was a bunch of YouTubers, and I was floored by these kids who are teenagers making millions, and they have no strategy.
Yep.
Don't have a coach. They're not buying programs. They're not subscribing to 50 email lists and, downloading all the opt-ins. They have one strategy: turn the camera on, be myself, connect to my audience. Like, that's all they do. That's all they do. They make a show. They let a bird's eye view into their life. They show up as they are. They don't care what they look like. They don't care who hates them. They know there's people watching. They give to them, right? And it just amazes me how simple it really is. It really is simple. They're not afraid to own their quirks. They're not afraid to own what they're good at. And you look at the people like Dude Perfect, who started out videoing themselves, making trick shots on the basketball hoop. They now have a show on Nickelodeon. That wasn't their game plan. It was, they attracted it just by showing up on YouTube and being themselves. So the Align and Define session is really a diagnostic session. And I always say it's not for the faint of heart, because what we do is we go into, we go into your whole brand across every touch point, your whole platform, your website, your social media. We take a look at the newsletters you've been sending out, if they've been sending them out, and we find the gaps. The goal is to find the conversion gaps. We give people this big brand book, and I'm always amazed that their answers in the brand book very rarely match what's happening on their site. We really quickly find the leaks in the business. Sometimes it's a communication problem. Sometimes they're offering something that they were told they should offer, but it's really not what they want to be doing. It's not an integrated expression of their highest abilities, their strongest gifts. Sometimes they have everything they need, but the way they're marketing it is out of alignment with their personality. And their natural way of communication. So we take a look at all of that, and then we give our suggestions on what you can do to get in alignment, across every touch point, every place somebody can land on you. It should be crystal clear who you are, what you do, who you do it for, and why it matters.
Say those again.
Who you are, what you do, who you do it for, and why it matters.
Especially the why it matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I want to speak to that, just having gone through this with Gina, and actually, total honesty, I'm still going through this with Gina, but you guys have probably noticed some change in my brand recently. The fact that I went back to doing the Carrie Roldan Show, because guess what? It was super fun. It felt so good. It was totally easy. It's right. The Carrie Roldan Show is aligned with who I am and what I'm about. And guess what? It's also a way for me to refine, right? For me, the more I have these conversations, the more clear I get in my own branding about who I am and what I'm about. But I want to speak to the value of that brand book, because I had known about it for a long time. I think at one time in our friendship, Gina may have even sent it to me, and I just didn't. I couldn't. I just didn't want to go to the brand book. And so what I did instead was, I guess I took a easier path, right? Or a path that seemed easier, right? It was easier to apply somebody else's template than to really dig deep into myself and what I stood for and my brand. But guess what? When I finally did, right, when I was ready to dive into this stuff with Gina, it was so apparent. One, just going through that brand book, Gina, it was like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff. Like, why is nobody else asking me these questions? Going through it, I felt like, oh, this is so important. Why was this not in my beginning business training, right, on how to be in business online? Why was this not part of it? Because these are questions that should have been asked to me as I was figuring out who I am, what I do, what I want to be. And so it's interesting that people, like you were saying, people find success, get to six figures or beyond before at some time in their business journey, though, you've got to answer these questions.
You do. And it's funny, Carrie, because sometimes people, they'll read the intro and then they get one of the first questions is, what do you call yourself? What's your title? And I've had deer in the headlights. People have said, I don't know. that's really telling. That tells me right there that you have not integrated. So we take them through this process then after I've gotten their answers back, where we blend. We have this sort of table where we talk about their top 5 values, their top 5 strengths, and, their top 5 adjectives to describe their client. And from that, we connect the dots and we create a title that aligns with who they are and is easy to communicate, is clear. I have people who have come up with like titles like High Priestess of something, and I'm like, no one's going to know what that means. Like it's better to be clear than to be clever. And it's sometimes okay to not even be able to answer the questions in the brand book, because that tells us right off the bat where your gaps are. It makes it even easier.
All right. So Gina, we're actually 5 minutes over already, but I want to go one more question with you. And that's actually, I'm going to go back to the title of the show, which is Rich and Real. So of course the idea is you can be both. You can be rich and real. Why doing away with manipulative marketing and focusing on being yourself is the ticket to freedom. So I think we've answered this in a roundabout way with every little question we've answered in this show. But can you just I hope you can, succinctly let me know why doing away with manipulative marketing and focusing on being yourself is the ticket to freedom?
Because I know Cindy is on here, and Cindy and I talk about this a lot in our work together. What you believe to be true about yourself, not at the surface level, not at the template cookie cutter level, but deep down, is what you embody, right? What you embody, how you show up, is what you project. And what you project dictates people's experience of you. So you cannot build a solid brand with an audience of ideal clients. We talk a lot about it's not enough to just attract people. We want ideal clients, not just the ones who are going to buy, the ones who are going to buy and be an enhancement to your life, not be an energy drain. None of that can happen until you're showing up as you are. And I can tell you, I don't have sales calls. I look at them as a transfer of enthusiasm. This is what I do. This is what, gives me energy. And it always, I would say 90% of the time goes well, because my goal is never to close a sale. I don't want to work with somebody who's not ready. That drains my energy. It drives me crazy. So that showing up and saying, here's what I've got for you, do you want it? And painting a picture of what's possible, painting a picture of the experience you can create for their clients. It just works. And you can't have that kind of kismet connection if you're not showing up fully as who you are. You might get people, they're going to be the wrong people, right? It might work for a while, it's not going to work forever. So I really believe that moving away from manipulative marketing is not only profitable, it's the fastest path to sustainable success.
That felt so good just when you said it. Yes, it's the fastest path to sustainable success. I feel like so many of us who, got into this online world or the coaching world in the past, really 5 to 10 years, were enticed by this, look at how quickly it's so easy to be an online coach and to make your own programs and to make millions of dollars, and almost don't bother with coaching people one-on-one. Just build a program based on one tiny little thing and you'll sell 1 million of them. And I know a lot of people who did find success there, but it's what you just said. It's the sustainable success. And I'll go a step further and say fulfilling success, right? So, okay. Gina Hussar, thank you so much for being here. You are a delight to talk to. I feel like there's so many more topics for us to explore together. You're welcome. I don't think this will be your last time here. Guys, thank you so much who are here live. If you do have questions, you can leave them in the comments. I will be checking after the show is over, so don't you worry. And again, you guys go to ginahussar.com/90-minute miracle. Read the page. Read it just read it for the joy in reading. Gina is just a master wordsmith, and probably because I'm clearly her ideal client, but Reading that page is like eating the most delicious piece of chocolate cake. Like you're just like, oh yes, yes, that totally hits the spot. This is what I've been missing all my life.
Thank you. I'm happy to be compared to cake. So thank you.
You're welcome. And yeah, let's not make this the last time we talk, because I feel what came up for me today, this has actually been brewing for a while, is I talk to a lot of people who do mindset work and a lot of people who do energy work. And when you talked about embodying your truth, I feel like there's a little bit of both in that, and just might be a conversation for a later day. So Chantal's saying, thank you both. Very inspiring. Gina, thank you so much for being here. I just love it. And those of you who, go ahead, Gina.
No, just thank you for having me. It was fun. You know, we could talk about this for hours, so.
I know. Any closing words? Any last minute advice for anyone?
You know, I find that I just would encourage people, before you spend another dollar, to just ask yourself if you're in alignment or not. And the best way to do that is to imagine you are at ground zero. Imagine everything was wiped out. You have no business, no connections. The only thing you have is a magic wand. Would you create the exact business you have right now? And if you wouldn't, then you know that there are some alignment gaps that need to be closed.
So good. Such a good question. And I felt like half the people who are watching just went, oh, crap.
Sorry.
So if you're one of the oh crap people, go to ginahussar.com/90-minute miracle. She'll hook you up. Gina, thanks for being here. Everybody, thanks for watching. Here's a great big virtual hug from me to you. And I look forward to seeing everybody next week on another episode of the Carrie Roldan Show. Bye for now, guys.